everybody. Thank you for rewatching or watching live. What we're going to talk about today, and we're going to do this as a collaborative effort today, rather than just me yabbering on for half an hour. The reason being, we're talking about communities, which is the new portion of Edelweiss, which is, as the name suggests, where communities of booksellers can get together and talk about books, list books in genres of their choosing, upvote, share their reviews, and just generally get together in groups, either of preset, like the BA or the ABA groups, or you can make your own group. You can make a group, a community that is just maybe your book club people that have come that you've invited onto the system, or maybe just the booksellers in your shop, or maybe just the booksellers in your town. Whatever, really, there's no limit to how you choose to use it. But it's like a way of just sharing ideas about books and finding out about books as well. This is the strongest use I've found for it so far, because all the UK booksellers haven't started using it so much. I'm browsing through things that are getting reviewed highly by all the American booksellers, and there are hundreds and hundreds of reviews and ratings, and then getting those ideas and bringing them into my shop, which is just a revelation, really. So I am going to share my screen. If you bear with me a second, let me just check I've got the right login set. Here we go. So close that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Have I got permission to do that? Yes, I do. Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. I am logged into Edelweiss Plus, which hopefully you all know how to do by now. So Edelweiss.plus. When you first log in, you should all, regardless of your level of access to Edelweiss Plus, you should all have access to communities. That's this new icon up here next to the 360 icon. Looks like a snowflake. It's actually, if you zoom in really closely, it's lots of people joined hands. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Which is a lovely idea, because that's what communities is all about. That's what the icon is representing. So I've clicked on communities, and this is our home screen. Now, the idea of communities, if you think, like other book sharing sites that are available, this one isn't backed by somebody who's trying to sell you books on their site. This is a purely independent forum for you to get together. Now, as I said earlier, you can get together with whoever you like. You might want to get together as a publisher with all your reps, all your staff at your publishing group. You can do that. You might want to get together with everybody who comes into your shop who has ginger hair. That could be a possibility. There's really no limit. But this is your home screen. I'm just going to minimize the video so that doesn't get in the way. So what you'll see on the home screen is a bit of a summary of your activity in communities. Up the top here, we've got some sort of navigational buttons. Let's just move that out of the way. Some navigational buttons. So we've got an alert section here. So these are notifications for activity within the Edelweiss community. You've got your conversations that are happening within communities, and you can just jump straight to those if you want to. So here you go. Here's a couple of conversations that I'm part of. This one that I started and then a general one that I've had some interest in. You've got your own books up the top there. Okay, so shelves, books that I've added to my particular shelves, as in what I'm anticipating, what I'm finishing, and other areas. And then my reviews are down here as well. So that's kind of, again, your a sort of more personalized view of things. And then you've got all the lists that you have had, well, that you've either a member of the community for, or have contributed to. So let's go back to the home. So that's the navigation bar. You've also got a search bar up here. You've also got your account profile up there as well. Then you've got your collaborative title lists, which are up the top here. So these are things with lists that you have either created or added books to, or upvoted, or basically had any activity on. And you've got a little navigation bar down here, so we can flip through all the ones that you've had some sort of involvement in. Okay. And then down here, you've got, as I was talking about earlier, a way of just really quickly finding some books that people are excited about. They're reviewing. There's a lot of activity on. So that's all under Community Buzz. And then they're split into two sections. Ones that are that have been out for 3 months or more, and ones that are upcoming. Okay, and now the reason we've got activity on all these upcoming ones is because you've got the opportunity to download a review copy on any of these books. So if that's a little raising your hand symbol there. If I raise my hand to request a DRC, that means I can download that book, read it, and then write a review based on it. The hand means can I please. On some, if you automatically have the permission to download, it'll just have a download icon for you, and you can download immediately. But these ones with a hand, they're asking permission. So that's the main screen there. Then we've got down the bottom, we've got latest review copies available. So these are kind of the newer ones that are have been added. Then I've got, again, linking into everything that Edelweiss Plus knows about my shop and my statistics and my collections and my catalogs. I have a list. So these are basically all collections that I've created, and I can have a look at those. So let's have a look at board books. Board books. And then so I can see any activity on these board books just down there. So it's just a way of tying it all back to your data that you're sending in from your POS system if you're a shop, or your catalogs if you're a publisher. So that's really handy. We've also got saved filters. A lot of people won't know that you can create your own filters in the main analytics section. And that's what these are. So if I want to filter everything I'm looking at in communities by one of my preferred filters, say 8 to 12 fiction, it will then filter everything according to my 8 to 12 filter that I've set up in the main Edelweiss section. Taking a little while to load that. You've got your links back to the main Edelweiss section up here, and if you want to just refresh the page, just clicking on or go back to the home of Edelweiss, you can just click up here as well. So here you go. Here are some 8 to 12 fiction titles that I can then select, add to lists, things like that. So I'm going to go back to the main page. Anyway, over on the left-hand side, we've got the main communities widget. So this bit in this box, I'd call a widget. It's basically a section that summarizes what communities you're in. So I've got 5 joined there. There'll be another section if you've been invited to join a community but haven't yet joined it. So that will be another tab there. And then you've got 65 more. And then they are split by either genre. So these are specific genre communities that I can just ask to join. Most of these I can just click on join community and it will let me in. So if I want to join the poetry community, there you go, I've successfully joined the poetry community. Okay. If I scroll back up to the top there, reduce down genre communities. Other user created communities are here as well. So you've got Libro FM, which is an American audiobook system. They are actually coming to the UK, but they're not there yet. And then, so yeah, other communities that other people have set up that are available to join. So you can have a browse through, see which ones take your fancy, and either request to join or just join. So there we go. Let's just minimize this again. I'll go on to what the add new does. Obviously, I've already talked about being able to create your own community. I will show you how to do that in a second. Conversations. So it's not just about lists and lists of books. You might just want to talk more generally about something within your community. You can see here, I started a conversation today about, what books do we wish there were more of? So that's not specific to any kind of genre or anything like that. You can just start a conversation and people can say, well, I wish there were more engineering books for children. That came up on the Bookseller Network, which is why it was on my mind. And so, yes, if you want to look at any of these conversations, you've got your quick link there, and the most recent activity will be at the top as well. If I go back up to here, so that's generally what the main screen is all about. I'm going to go into a community. Let's look at, so the Booksellers Association, UK and Ireland. These are going to be all BA members, and we're going to add you all in automatically. So you don't need to request to add there. As long as you're a BA member, you'll get added to this group. So within here, once I'm in this section, there now I can see just the collaborative lists that are for this community. Okay, and I can create my own one, or I can look. So here's one that I've created earlier, which is Great Window Sellers. Okay, so these are things that I've put in my window and they've sold immediately, basically, and they keep just selling and selling and selling immediately. Now, some of the pictures you can see aren't coming through. They're just publishers that aren't on Edelweiss yet, but will be, hopefully. We still have the sort of core data for it, but just some of the images are missing there. So yes. These are things that I have added as things that just sell immediately out of my window. You can see they're all very nice, pretty pictures. The Story of Scottish Art isn't one of mine. That's one somebody else. I can't imagine who has added.
I was going to say I added a couple, even though
and hope never
I don't work in your bookshop and I don't know what sells there.
No.
Just because they have nice covers.
I can't imagine the Story of Scottish Art would sell particularly well in my shop, but you never know. I didn't think The Archers would sell very well in my shop, but it's flying off the shelves. So yeah, it's thank you for that. So yeah, this is what's in the group in the list at the moment. I've realized I have just talked for about 15 minutes. Having said this was a community effort, not brought either of you into it at all at the moment. Have you got anything to add so far on the main screen?
Well, No, I
Hello.
don't. Sorry. Tony's shaking her head. Doesn't have anything.
No, you're
Good.
doing great. Yeah.
Well, that's all I
know, I
needed
feel
was
like
validation.
Yeah, you just need validation. Because I was thinking, just when I was thinking, oh, we need to talk about this, you would talk about it. So yeah.
That's good.
All good. All
That's
good.
good.
I think that the best thing about
yes.
communities is that it is really straightforward.
It is.
Like everywhere that you see you can click, and
Yeah.
it's really all right at your fingertips. So no.
It's really been well thought through, hasn't it? I think taken everything that we've learned from Edelweiss Plus and kind of refined it. And it is great that that everything mashes together as well. So all the reviews that I've done on Edelweiss Plus, they're all in here already, which as you can see up here, this is oh no, that's actually which titles I've added and which Ruth has added, and then actually I've got 2 user IDs, so another one that I've added as well. Okay, so you can see on one that Ruth has added, again, you can request the DRC for it if you want to. You have got a couple of view modes as well, which just put it into like a block format or into more of a list format. I prefer the interactive mode personally. So if you've got a great idea for a title that will sell straight out of the window, it doesn't matter if you created this list or not, you can add a title. So you can click on add title. I've found the best way to do it is just to paste a list of ISBNs in. However, if you want to add one, while we can't hug, here we go. This one is one that just flies out of the window every time. So I've searched for the book. It's given me an option, different versions. I've clicked on add, and there it is at the bottom. Now I particularly love that book, so I am going to go and upvote. Oh, it's on a separate page, temper page. So here it is. I'm going to upvote that. So you get 1 vote each. You can't just keep clicking it. 1 vote each, and that will push it up the list. You can see now Egyptology is down there. I'd actually vote for Egyptology as well. But there you can see all these ones with 1 vote down here. Okay, and as the community grows, that is going to be really key information. You know, how many people agree with you, or how many people agree that it will sell straight out of the window in this instance. That's just this list. So on any of these titles, if you're thinking, well, what on earth is Dragonology? It's been around for a while. You can click on any of the titles and find all the bibliographic information on the book. Let's try and find one with a bit more information. What have we got? I don't think Where's Dom. Oh yeah, Where's Dom does. So if you want a bit more information on the book, you can click into it and then have a look at some other images. Zoom into the, oh no, you can't zoom into that image yet. That's actually being changed. You've got all the format of the book, the pages, you've got a summary. If there's any press information or any media involvement in the book, then it will all be in here as well. You've got the author bio happening about the book as well, and then you could write a review from here as well. Okay, so you click on write, and then you get the review screen come up. Okay, and you can add your own review to it. Okay, so, and then down on the right hand side, you've got recent activity. Again, just a log of what's happened on this particular list. You also have these little function buttons at the top, which let you export a whole list of the ISBNs, bring them into your POS system, and well, there's lots of different ways you could use a list of ISBNs, paste it into gardeners.com, paste it into a publisher's ordering portal, however you choose to do it. But yeah, you can use that list, maybe just to put it onto social media or something. But
Dan.
that's up there. Oh yes, sorry.
One thing I learned yesterday that's really interesting is, so if you click the export button that Dan was just showing you, it will export all of the titles in the current list that you're looking at. However, you can export just by category. So you can choose a certain category within the list. So say you're looking at great window sellers, but you only want like middle grade. You could choose middle grade and export just the middle grade title. So that is really interesting. To do that,
oh, that's really
you're going to click where it says view mode. You'll click standard.
Yeah.
And then
you got
it'll
your
like,
filter.
yeah. And then you'll do action all titles. You could also do filter, but
oh, sorry. Sorry, I was jumping ahead. Here we go. Yeah.
You can do filter and it'll show you those on the screen, or you can do action all titles, share export.
Yeah.
And it'll pop up and say like your download is ready.
Nice.
And then,
you can do it to PowerPoint as well. So you could share that to a customer potentially.
Yeah. When you do Excel, this includes the categories into your Excel sheet. Whereas if you just do the export, it won't have those categories in there. So there are a couple different ways you can export, making sure you have the books you want.
Fantastic. I think there's a bug that I raised yesterday with some of the titles that publishers aren't involved with Edelweiss with, causing a bit of an error. So that's why you're seeing that error that was just popping up then. But that's on the job list to get fixed. I think when we're in the American market, that doesn't happen. Which presumably you were doing yesterday, Joni. You were managing to export it successfully.
Yeah, it was actually, it just went live yesterday, so it's a brand new feature.
Okay.
But yeah, I was able to export without a problem yesterday. For some Barnes and Noble buyers. So
sure.
It was good.
Excellent. Right, I'm just going back to my list. So we're looking at, at the moment we're in a list within the community. If I want to create a new list, I've got the add new up here. Okay, it's very simple. Add new. Let's call this what think of anything. Okay, books with dragons in. So I popular request in our shop, useful to be able to pull up a list. Lovely. Okay, now when you're creating a list, you have the option to leave it as a draft at the moment, so nobody else would be able to see it, and then publish it afterwards. I'm just going to publish it straight away. And then you can lock it down. You can say, I just want to be in control of this list. I don't want everybody else being able to add to it. I'm not going to do that. Enable quantity of inputs. What does that do, Joni? I haven't seen that. Do you know?
So I believe that it's used for a different purpose, but you'll notice if you do the enable quality inputs, the people that are in that community and view that list can put quantities on the books. And I'm not sure why anyone would want quantities.
No.
I'm sure there's a purpose for it.
I kind of know about the reason. If you so if there are groups that are collaborating really on buying, so this is happening with our friends in France. So they want to be able to take orders essentially from librarians. Apparently the bookshops basically order for librarians, and they've been working out a way with Edelweiss to kind of, get their orders in. So they're going to use a group like this and then have them be able to put quantities in.
Amazing.
And also when they got some chains where the buyers, where the bookshops, they want the bookshops to have some input into frontless buying, and then centrally they want to see what they're suggesting. So it's not that eventually will interact with buying in Edelweiss, but then they can let the people in the shops sort of work in this kind of easy version of Edelweiss, so they're not really having to create orders and do all this stuff, but they can make suggestions essentially. So it's sort of an internal type thing, but I imagine there might be other uses that will come up, but that's where it came from. So you'd only enable it if you want to do it, otherwise, you wouldn't.
Would that be a good tool to use for local schools who are trying to, I think book fairs and things, as much as we'd all like to do them, its restrictions are not enabling us to push things for the new term. Maybe setting up a collaborative list for all the schools in my little area and saying, okay, these are the books that are coming up, or tell me what you need, or what are we recommending, and create them a list that then all of those schools can go, well, I'd like 3 of those, I'd like 2 of those, and we can do it as a bulk order.
Oh yeah, you could definitely use that. The quantities button shows up right underneath the upvote downvotes. So you'll see that once you enable that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice use of it, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to submit that list. Okay. So now if I scroll to my second page of lists, here I've got books with dragons in. And if I go into the list, you can see at the moment I've got no titles added to it. And if I go to edit list, oh, hang on, where have I lost my add titles list button?
Maybe you need to be in interactive mode.
Oh yes. Well, there we go.
You want to
That'll
interact.
teach me to flip to a different mode. Yeah. Good. Okay. A moment of panic there. Right. So add titles here. You can just add from the search bar. I prefer to go into add titles to this screen. I'm going to add in Dragonology. Dragon. If I could spell Dragonolo. Oh. There we go, Dragonology. So that's just added that in. Now you probably saw on this screen, you can also just paste in a list of ISBNs or just one ISBN. Let's do that as a, oh, actually, no, I can't do that here. But yeah, just paste in your ISBN as well, or a list of ISBNs. How to train your dragon. There we go. Let's add in any of these. Krista Cowell's one. Okay, you can see how you can just start adding really easily. Okay, now I'm going to upvote this. And as Joni and Ruth were talking about, you've got the number down here. So we could set number optional comment as well. Look, just functionality all over the place. Looks lovely. Okay, so that's just a bit of extra functionality in there. So let's go back out of the lists, back onto our main screen. One thing I was talking about, which I don't think I've really shown you, is the buzz, or when you're browsing a list, you've got all these little numbers below each of the books. That just makes it really easy to spot something that everybody is raving about. So we can see here, we've got something that gets an average rating of 9.2, which is incredible. which was, oh yeah, well, there was this one I was looking at here. So that's 9.2 out of 48 votes. This one's 9.1 out of 236 votes. So I would probably look at that. Now, even though this is within the American communities, I would look at that and go, well, hang on a minute, that's, everybody's raving about that. I'm probably going to get that out. In fact, I did. I looked this one up, The Invisible Life of Adi LaRue, and I went and ordered it for the shop. 9.1 out of 380 reviews. I can look into it if I want a bit more information. I mean, I might think that it's just not suitable for the shop, but we've got the summary here, a bit of historical fiction, and then you've got images as well. So you can look at various, well, this looks like marketing information about the book, and lots of reviews and things like that. So it's obviously had quite a lot behind it.
This is actually a really great example, because this is an example of, this author is really big in the US. She is a really big like sci-fi, and this is one of her first books that she's written that's not so heavily sci-fi fantasy. It's more for a mainstream. So it's a great one if you were looking for like, ooh, I want to have things that are like great in the US, but like the UK audience might not know, for like the, you know, get like kind of like an insider's vibe going. This is like a great title. And you can see that by like going to the author bio, that she's published like 12 books, or, you know. There's so much information on this screen. One thing I would say as a UK bookseller is, don't just copy that ISBN and go and order it, because there will be, in fact, you can tell from the pricing that's up here, there'll be a UK version of this. So what I did was copied that out, went to Gardner's, paste it, or you could go to Edelweiss Plus as well. But basically, as you can see, there's a different jacket up there. So that's wherever you're going to do your ordering from. Just be aware that there are different versions, but you all know that anyway. You've got your ratings down here as well, and we can have a look at the actual reviews from different people as well. So if you've got time on your hands, you can look through, but you can get the general gist of things from it as well, which is just really useful. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that, because it's just a fantastic way of finding new books, not just in specific genres, but as a whole as well. This will be a great summary of what's going on. But if I am shopping for, say, poetry, I can go into my poetry community hub, and then looking for inspiration. Here we can have a look at some poetry books that people have added to various lists. Okay. Sorry about this. Yes, let's just come out of there. Is there anything else you, Ruth or Joni, you'd like to add at this stage? No, just
No,
just keep in mind that anyone can create communities, and you can create a community for anything you want. Like for people that like the color blue, like you can
yes,
literally make a community for anything. You can put in as many people as you want. Say you have girlfriends and you just want to be like, let's just talk about the books we like. You can do that, or you can do work colleagues, or, you know, it can literally be anything. So there's a lot of uses.
You're absolutely right. I haven't shown how to create a community, have I? I don't think so. I don't think I covered that. Stop me if I'm wrong.
I don't think you did. Actually,
sorry.
Can I add to that?
No,
while you get started with that, actually, like you mentioned, I think about the Booksellers Network and how people ask questions all the time there and say, you know, does anyone have good ideas for like the 6-year-old engineering
Mhm.
books or whatever. And those are good practical examples of those things. So you could have it within there, have like all of those things, and people could add new things, or you could link to it and people could just jump over there from the Booksellers Network and have the conversation about the books over there, instead of, you know, all over the Booksellers Network, the same books or the same questions kind of coming up again and again as they might do.
Very important point. That's exactly what I've been doing on the Facebook Bookseller Network group. Yesterday was looking through the previous requests for does anyone know any zero waste books? Zero waste cookery books actually was the specific request, and there were loads of great ideas. But you can guarantee in 2 months' time that question will be asked again, or a similar question will be asked again. It would be great to be able to go, okay, we had all these great ideas then, here they are, but also here's some new ones that have come out, and just start adding to them. So what I'm doing when any questions like that come up is creating a community, creating a list and adding them. So here's one, the zero waste cookbooks, and these are the books that were suggested. And then, so it's all very well suggesting a book, or even linking to a book on Gardeners or on your website or however you do it, but to be able to go, oh well, actually there's all the jackets inside that, you know, there's all the pictures inside the book, and then to be able to share that with your customer as well, to give them an informed choice, is just super powerful. So you can export the information, but yeah, you can also send them like a one-page spread of it as well. So that's what I've been doing here. That's what most of these lists are. Books to help with grief, that was another one, and that comes up dreadfully, but virtually every week in our shop. How to help a child deal with grief, or an adult, and so all of the suggestions that were added in to the Bookseller Network, they're all in here as well. And it's just going to be great to have that just to go to immediately, you know, because only a certain amount of people are going to respond to those questions on the Bookseller Network or on Twitter or wherever the format is that you're sharing these ideas. Only a certain amount of people are going to see it. But if you can then refer back to those answers when you're, you know,
but not only that, Dan, it's a time-saving thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Time saving. I can't even tell you how many, well, you know, how many hours you spend going, right, okay, this is what I've decided to do next month. Where are all the titles that fit with that? Hours and hours. This is like, this is answering prayers.
Thank you, Lindsay.
It's like Christmas coming. This is amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Good. I'm so glad. So I will cover the most important thing, which is how to create a community. Okay. So we've got our bookseller community in there, but you just want to go lone wolf and create your own one. There is also the concept of a circle within a group. Circle within a community, which is basically like a subgroup within there. I will just very quickly show you that. So circles down here, you can add a new circle, and so that could be children's booksellers within the bookseller you know, main group. So you stay within, but you have your subsection. Okay, so creating a community, add new. Let's call this let's call it Book Bugs Book Club. Okay. All book club members at Book Bugs. Okay. This little option here just means if I invite somebody from, say, my shop to join, I mean one of my staff members from my shop to join, then everybody within my shop will have access to join. Okay. So I'm not going to turn that on for this. I'm going to submit my new group. Okay, and there we go. We've got a book club community. I can set a picture. So let's upload a little image. I know I've got one very quickly to hand. So let's put our logo on there. There it is. It's not actually our logo, that's our swing sign, but I like it. I can restrict it to certain categories, and then I can say who's allowed to join. Now, I don't want it to be open access. I only want to send invites to it. So what I can do here is, oh yeah, no, I need to add people to my to the list of people that can join. So if they're already registered users on Edelweiss, you'll be able to search. So if I decide I'm going to invite Joni, it's going to find her and anybody else called Joni in the system in a minute. There we go, Joni. Okay. Or I can go to accounts. So like I could decide to invite everybody in PRH UK, or by email. So none of my book club members are going to be on Edelweiss at the moment, but if I paste all their email addresses in here, in fact, let's do me, Defrid. Actually, I was about to give away my, let's do at above the treeline.com, add. Okay, so it's as simple as that, but it could be a list of email addresses as well. If you've got them in a spreadsheet or something, you can just paste them all in there. Come back to here. So there's my availability now is restricted to these two users. I can send my invite, join my community. I am actually going to do this, I think, with actual book club members. So I'm going to send invites to everybody here, send now, and that email will be winging its way to people. So that's how you create your community. And then they will have access to any of your lists. They'll be able to add to any of the lists that you have created within that community. And yeah, have access to all the beautiful books and the inlays and everything like that, all the data that's behind it. So get creating communities, get adding to lists, get contributing.
I've got a question about book club.
Brilliant.
We don't have a book club associated with the shop at the moment, and again with COVID and everything else, groups of people together is pretty impossible right now. And I was thinking of starting a Zoom book club from January.
Yeah.
Just a once a month thing, nothing too formal, but if I invite people to join, I can add their email to this list that you've just, my list.
Yeah.
And then if I select a title or they suggest a genre or whatever, and I can find something, even if it's just a reviewing a book that's going to come in the future, we can absorb all those reviews and put them back in to, I'm just trying to find a way of, rather than it just being something that's just been published, is out on the shelf, actually, would we be able to, for them to also review an advanced copy?
Well, they will
do that?
Yeah, they'll have the ability to download an advanced copy if they request it. They don't always get you know, the request doesn't always get accepted.
It goes to the publisher. Yeah, it depends on the publisher a bit. So they vary in whether they, you know, are okay with book club people and consumers, what they would call. But that's actually a really interesting angle, though, because that's something we've thought about. Like, wouldn't it be really great to have something that's more formal, like working with bookshops and with the publishers to say, you know, will you make these available to book clubs or these groups at this bookshop. That's sort of.
But to me, it makes sense that you are inviting a greater audience of reviewers to review that book, to bring it up the rating list, to help sell.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. Yeah, we want to have more more enthusiasts about books involved in Edelweiss and getting access to that kind of thing to build the community.
Just a thought. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing with a book club is it's all about that discussion. You may want to, like, have suggestions of books for the next book club, which could be a list, or you could and you could either close that down so that it's, I mean, this is what we do in our shop. We decide what the book club book is. We don't let anybody else choose. But you know, a lot of book clubs, they take it in turns, or they vote on it, or they one shop I know spins a bottle. But if you had a list, you could upvote it, things like that. But you've also got the conversations as well. So that would be a really good place to say, here's the next book club Zoom meeting link, for instance, or just a bit of information. So I could say meeting times, initial thought, book club will meet on the first Thursday of January. And then people could reply to that saying, well, I can't make that, or that's great, I'll be there, or whatever. And then you could put your Zoom link in. So yeah, that would be a great use for it.
Cracking. Thank you.
Yeah. I can't wait to get our book club on there, actually. Good stuff. Okay, well, have you got any more questions, Lindsay, or any more planted questions?
I'm fine at the minute. I've got lots of buzzing going on in my head. So
fantastic. Good.
Thank
you, Ruth, and thank you, Joni, too.
Yeah,
for getting up early.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording.